Okay, but you've been named Minnesota Vikings Man of the Year 6 years in a row. Firstly, what does that feel like? But then when push comes to shove and you do actually leave, what does that feel like?
Yeah. Well, it's this. My first week with the Vikings, our head coach, Tuesdays was our off day. So he said, hey, guys, if you're new, just so you know, Tuesdays, we call it Community Tuesday. So get out there and do something. If you don't have anywhere to go, see our guy over here. So I was just happy to be on the team. Like, I couldn't believe I made the team. It's like, well, I'm not going to get cut because I didn't go do something on Tuesday. So I went to our community relations director, and he sent me to a school. And yeah, I'd done pretty well in school. And I was amazed. I showed up at this school. None of these kids knew who I was, but they knew I played for the Vikings. And they were like, oh man, like they were just like, this is pretty cool. And so I just started. It's like, well, it was too easy. Like, to me, it's like you're playing the NFL. If all these kids look up to you, you just have to show up somewhere and you make some kid's day, show up at a school, show up at a hospital. Like it's so easy for people with that kind of platform to do something good. Right. So again, I don't want to make it sound like it was easy for me. And it just felt like being raised how I was raised. If you can help somebody, you just do it. So get to do all this amazing work in the community that I grew up in. And yeah, again, I don't know, Man of the Year 6 times. I don't know if I haven't been named Man of the Year in my house yet, but for the whole team, okay, fine. But when we left, I mean, there was a part of me that it's not that I wasn't excited about going to Baltimore and what lied ahead, but it was like that was a serious chapter, 11 years and all this stuff, and we never left Minnesota. It was like, yeah, you're kind of out there a little bit. You're sort of like, okay, God, like there's an element of faith there. I'll tell you this story. So, Vikings never won a Super Bowl, right? Long suffering Vikings fans. I leave. I'm in Baltimore. The Vikings signed Brett Favre. And all my buddies are calling me. That was kind of what we were missing. We were missing the quarterback. I felt like we had a really good team, but didn't have a quarterback. So now my buddies from the Vikings are calling me like during training camp, like, oh my gosh, Favre is unbelievable. This guy, you should see him in the huddle. He's totally in control. He makes all the checks to the line. He's fun. His arm is just, it's a bazooka. Like, you should have stayed. I said, well, if I'd have known we were going to sign Brett Favre, maybe I'd have stayed. Like that might have influenced my decision. I was making decisions with the information that I had. And now all of a sudden the Vikings are like, they're like the hottest team in the NFL. Like, because you got Brett Favre. And I remember in Baltimore, we're doing all right. We're scuffling a little bit here and there. But the Vikings they look like they're going to go to the Super Bowl. And I'm thinking to myself, oh my gosh, the year I leave, if the Vikings go, it'd be like when the Cubs won the World Series. If the Vikings win the Super Bowl, it's the year after I left, I can never go back to Minnesota again. Like I'd forever be like, there's that guy, there's that dummy that left when they won the Super Bowl. So, I mean, in the grand scheme of things, it's very small, but like that was real life. Like I say, the Baltimore thing, it didn't work out because we won the Super Bowl. That was great, but it was the getting out of the comfort zone, going on a new adventure, trusting in God. I mean, all those things. That's what made it incredible. And getting to play for a strong Catholic guy, it was good.
So make this transition from Minnesota to Baltimore. Obviously, football is on your mind. When I talk to the wives of players and I ask them about these types of transitions, they talk about where are we going to live, where our kid's going to go to school, I got to find a new doctor, I got to find a new pediatrician for my kids, a new dentist for my kids, where do we get groceries? How do you manage both of those transitions at the same time? And to be honest, as a guy, are you even aware of that stuff, or in hindsight, do you see that was just very difficult for your wife?
I was worried I had to learn new offense. That's where my focus was. Yeah, totally underestimate the effect that it had. Kind of figure hey, this is what I go do. At that time, you got to go figure all this stuff out. And I can remember we were a couple months in, and I can remember one day my wife was sort of talking to me like, so how long do you think we're going to do this for? Like she was worn out, and I was kind of like, all right, I need to be a little better at home, more supportive, shoulder more of the load. Yeah, it's definitely right. We don't get any do-overs, but looking back, and I certainly as a player, you're just so lost in your own world. Didn't appreciate what she had to do, whether we moved or not. Just, I mean, during the season, it's 6 months. I'd like to tell you that when I came home from practice that, I was 100% present at home, but no, I wasn't. I mean, I was there physically, but I wasn't really there. You do certain things, take your kids to school when you can and this and that, but your mind is other places. Looking back, it's kind of hard. You feel there were times where I wasn't the man that I should have been. Football was too important. But also makes me appreciate my wife even more for what she did, and did it for me, for us, and for our family.